Have you ever noticed how life gets louder the moment you want something? You want clarity. Your mind starts shouting. You want love. Your heart starts chasing. You want a breakthrough. Your nervous system starts sprinting. You check your phone again. You replay a conversation again. You overthink your next move again. You try to force timing, force people, force outcomes, because waiting feels like losing. But here's the truth. Nobody teaches us early enough. The most powerful people are not the fastest. They're the steadiest. They don't panic when things take time. They don't collapse when life gets quiet. They don't beg for what's meant for them. They keep planting, keep practicing, keep showing up. And that's why they end up receiving what others only chase. So today, I want to give you a sentence you can hold like a handrail. When the world feels uncertain, stay steady. The right things arrive in time. Not everything you crave, not every impulse, not every fantasy or anxiety paints, but the right things, what matches your growth, your character, your season, arrive in time. And I know what you might be thinking. Isn't that just wishful thinking? Isn't that just a soft idea for hard people? No, this isn't a vague belief floating without roots. This is a principle grounded in three directions at once. A spiritual principle. You reap what you sow in Buddhism, through karma and causes and conditions. In Christianity, through sowing and reaping and patient trust. A psychological principle. What you repeatedly focus on shapes what you notice, what you choose, what you become. A scientific principle. Your nervous system can be trained. Your habits compound. Your attention filters reality. When people say the universe is like a magnet, I want you to hear it as an image, a metaphor for something very real. When you live with steadiness, integrity, and consistent effort, you become the kind of person opportunities can find. And here's the most important part. Staying steady doesn't mean sitting still. It means moving without desperation. It means you work hard without burning out. You pray without panicking. You build without begging. You love without clinging. You wait without weakening. If you've been rushing lately, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, this is your reset. Let's begin where steadiness really begins. Not in your circumstances, but in your inner training. Steady is a skill, not a personality. Some people look calm and you assume they were born that way. They speak slowly. They respond instead of reacting. They don't get pulled into drama. They don't flinch when life delays them, and you think must be nice. That's just who they are. But steadiness is not a personality trait you either have or don't have. Steadiness is a skill. It is trained moment by moment, through choices that feel small but change everything. Steady is not numb. Steady is awake. Let's clear up a common confusion. Steady does not mean you don't feel anything. Steady does not mean you don't care. Steady does not mean you act unbothered. Steady means you can feel a storm without letting the storm drop. In Buddhist philosophy, there's a quality, often translated as equanimity, a balanced mind that can stay clear, even when emotions rise. Not because the person is cold, but because the person is present. Equanimity is not suppression. It's spaciousness. It's the ability to say, yes, anger is here, and I don't have to become it. Yes, fear is here, and I can still choose wisely. Yes, grief is here, and I can still stand. That is steadiness. And in the Christian tradition there is a parallel idea. A peace that does not depend on circumstances. A steadiness that comes not from controlling life, but from trusting something deeper than life's shifting surface. Not a life with no waves. A heart with an anchor. Different language. Same direction. Your body is not your enemy. Your body is your instrument. Now let's bring in science. Because steadiness is not only spiritual, it's biological. When you feel threatened, socially, emotionally, financially, your nervous system can shift into survival mode. Your body floods with stress signals. Your attention narrows. Your thinking becomes more reactive. That's why you say the thing you later regret. That's why you over-explain. That's why you rush decisions. That's why you treat uncertainty like an emergency. Your brain is trying to protect you, but it often protects you in ways that damage your future. Steadiness is training your nervous system to recognize not every discomfort is danger. Not every delay is disaster. Not every silence is rejection. This is why breath matters. A slow, deliberate exhale is not just calming. It's communication. It tells your body, we are safe enough to think. And when your body feels safe enough, your mind becomes clear enough. So if you want a simple starting point for steadiness, here it is. Slow down your body to speed up your wisdom. The universe as a magnet starts with your signal. You said something important. The universe is like a magnet. It attracts good things to you. Let's make that idea strong, not vague. Think of it like this. Your character, your habits, your energy, your attention. These become a signal. People feel your signal. Opportunities respond to your signal. Your own decisions follow your signal. A desperate signal pulls in chaos. A steady signal pulls in alignment. Not because the universe is a vending machine, but because life responds to consistency, the way soil responds to seasons. When you live in panic, you make short-term choices that create long-term consequences. When you live in steadiness, you make long-term choices that create long-term results. And yes, over time, your world begins to match your inner tone. That's not magic. That's momentum. Carl Jung in The Meaning of Things Finding You. You mentioned Carl Jung, so let's bring him in with care. Jung spoke about synchronicity, meaningful coincidences, moments when inner shifts and outer events align in a way that feels like life is speaking. Now, whether you interpret that spiritually or psychologically, the practical takeaway is powerful. When your inner world becomes clearer, your outer world often becomes more coherent. You notice what you used to miss. You choose what you used to avoid. You recognize patterns you used to repeat. And suddenly, it feels like things are finding you. But often what's happening is this. You are becoming the kind of person who can recognize and receive what was always possible. That's why steadiness is not passive. It's preparation. Steadiness is choosing values over urgency. Here's a test you can use anytime life pressures you. When stress rises, what do you obey? Your fear, your pride, your cravings, or your values? Most people obey urgency. They act because they feel something intensely. They chase because they fear loss. They react because they feel threatened. Steady people do something different. They create a small space between feeling and action. And in that space, they choose who they want to be. Let me give you a simple inner anchor you can return to. Breathe. Observe. Choose. Breathe. Calm the body. Observe, name the emotion. Notice the story. Choose, act from values, not impulse. Do that enough times, and steadiness stops being a technique. It becomes your identity. Because identity is not what you claim. Identity is what you practice. Now we move to the part where steadiness is hardest for most people. The waiting season. The waiting is not wasted. Waiting can feel like punishment. You're improving. You're trying. You're doing the right things, and still, nothing moves. No message, no breakthrough, no confirmation, no clear sign, just silence. And silence is where anxious minds create stories. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe it's too late. Maybe I missed my chance. Maybe it won't happen. But here's what steadiness understands. Silence is not always absence. Sometimes it's incubation. Karma and causes and conditions. The seed does not argue with the soil. In Buddhism, karma is often misunderstood as fate or punishment, but a more grounded way to view it is actions have consequences, directly or indirectly, through causes and conditions. You plant something, and it ripens when conditions support it. Some seeds sprout fast, some take time, some require winter. The seed doesn't panic, because it can't see the fruit yet. It simply keeps becoming what it was meant to become. Waiting, in this view, is not empty time. It's the time conditions assemble. And one of the deepest trainings in Buddhist philosophy is non-attachment. Not because wanting is wrong, but because clinging creates suffering. You can desire something and still keep your peace. You can work toward a goal without worshiping it. You can love someone without gripping them like they are oxygen. This is what makes waiting bearable. Want without clinging. Work without desperation. Sowing and reaping. Patience is not weakness. It's trust in timing. In the Christian tradition, there is also a clear message. You reap what you sow, and reaping has a season. Some things do not arrive early, because early would harm them. Love that arrives before maturity becomes obsession. Success that arrives before discipline becomes arrogance. Money that arrives before wisdom becomes chaos. So sometimes, not yet is not a rejection of you. It's protection of you. Think of timing like a form of mercy. The science of compound growth. Invisible progress, is still progress. Now let's talk about the kind of growth you can't always measure. Skills compound, trust compounds, health compounds, confidence compounds, reputation compounds. But compound growth starts slow. So slow that impatient people call it nothing. They don't see results, so they stop showing up. They don't see fruit, so they abandon the root. But many of the strongest transformations happen underground, like bamboo, rooting for a long time before it rises. This is why the waiting season is actually a building season. The visible results are late, because the invisible work is happening first. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Life often delays the reward until you fall in love with the process. Because if you only love the outcome, you will collapse the moment the outcome is threatened. But if you love the process, you become unstoppable, because your motivation is no longer hostage to timing. The magnet idea becomes real when you build a stable pattern. Let's make your universe as a magnet idea more concrete. What is the magnet? Practically, it's not a wish, it's a pattern. When you consistently do the right things, you create signals. You build competence. People trust you. You build reliability. Opportunities return to you. You build self-respect. You stop accepting what's beneath you. You build calm. Others feel safe around you. And those signals change your life. The right people notice. The right chances appear. The right doors open. Not by magic, by alignment. So the waiting season is when you strengthen the magnet. Not by forcing the world, by refining yourself. 3 steady habits for the waiting season. Let's make this practical. If you're waiting on something right now, here are 3 habits that protect your steadiness. Reduce noise. Increase clarity. Waiting becomes unbearable when you constantly consume chaos. Too many opinions. Too much comparison. Too much scrolling. Steady people guard their mind like a temple. They choose inputs that strengthen patience, not feed panic. If your mind is full of noise, you will confuse anxiety with intuition. So, in the waiting season, simplify. Fewer distractions, more focus, less checking, more building. 2. Do the next right thing. When the big outcome feels far away, shrink your focus, not to give up, just to stay grounded. What is the next right action I can take today? Not the perfect action, not the dramatic action, the next right one. Send the email, practice the skill, train the body, write the paragraph, apologize, sleep, study, show up. Steadiness is built from small, faithful steps. 3. Hold your desires with open hands. Open hands mean, I'm committed, but not frantic. I'm hopeful, but not attached. I'm willing, but not desperate. Desperation closes your hands into fists, and fists can't receive. Open hands can. This is how you wait without weakening. You keep your heart soft and your discipline strong. Waiting is sometimes identity work, not time work. Now let me say something gently but clearly. Sometimes what delays you is not time, it's identity. Life waits until you stop needing the outcome to prove your worth. Because the moment you stop saying, if I get this, then I'm enough, you become steady. And that steadiness changes your decisions. You stop chasing the wrong people. You stop forcing the wrong doors. You stop accepting crumbs. You stop confusing attention with love. You begin to move from wholeness. And when you move from wholeness, you become magnetic. Not because you're perfect, but because you're stable. And stability is rare. Now when the right things finally begin to arrive, you still need steadiness, because receiving is a test too. So let's go there. 3. When the right things arrive, you'll be ready. Most people think the hard part is waiting, but there's another hard part, receiving without ruining it. You get the opportunity, and suddenly you fear failing. You receive love, and suddenly you fear losing it. You taste success, and suddenly you fear it won't last. So you speed up too fast. You over-control. You overthink. You self-sabotage. This is why steadiness is not just for storms. Steadiness is for blessings too, because blessings reveal your remaining insecurities. The right things often arrive quietly. Not everything arrives like fireworks. Sometimes the right job begins with a simple conversation. Sometimes the right relationship begins with peace, not sparks. Sometimes the right breakthrough arrives as a small idea you almost dismiss. If your mind is addicted to drama, you can miss alignment because it feels too calm. Steady people respect calm. They don't need chaos to feel alive. They can tell the difference between excitement and agitation. And that difference matters, because agitation is often fear wearing a costume. Non-attachment and faith. Receive without gripping. Buddhism warns that clinging turns pleasure into anxiety, because once you cling, you fear losing, and fear of losing makes you behave in ways that cause losing. Christian wisdom also points to a similar posture. Receive with gratitude, but don't worship the gift above the giver. Don't build your identity on what can be taken away. In both traditions, the message is, hold good things with open hands. Open hands protect love. Open hands protect peace. Open hands protect you. The special parable, the lantern maker, and the fog. Now I want to give you a story that will stay with you. A parable you can remember the next time you feel tempted to force timing. The parable of the lantern maker and the fog. In a coastal town, there lived a lantern maker named Sen. Sen wasn't famous. He wasn't loud. He didn't rush. Every morning he carved glass, polished metal, and tested wicks. His workshop smelled like oil and warm iron. He worked quietly, while the rest of the town lived loudly. The town sat beside a dangerous stretch of sea. Some nights, the fog rolled in so thick that the shoreline vanished. Boats returned late. Lights disappeared. And sometimes a ship didn't return at all. People complained, as people do. The fog is unfair. The sea is cruel. Life is against us. One day, the mayor announced a competition. Whoever can build a lantern strong enough to cut through the fog will be rewarded with gold and honor. The town erupted. Inventors built lanterns with bigger flames. Blacksmiths forged heavier frames. Merchants bought brighter oils. Everyone wanted a fast solution. Everyone believed force was the answer. Sen said nothing. He went back to his workshop. But he didn't build a lantern with a bigger flame. He built a lantern with steadier light. He studied airflow. He adjusted wick thickness by hair width. He shaped the glass to protect the flame, without choking it. He made the lantern breathe. He tested again and again, not for brightness, but for endurance. Weeks passed. People mocked him. Sen, your lantern is too small. Sen, your flame is too gentle. Fog demands power. Sen kept polishing. Then the thickest fog of the year arrived. The mayor gathered everyone at the pier for the final test. One by one, lanterns lit up, and one by one, lanterns failed. Big flames flared, and then choked. Bright oils burned fast, and then died. Heavy frames trapped smoke and suffocated their own fire. The fog swallowed the light. People grew angry. This is hopeless, they shouted. Nothing can beat the fog. Sen walked forward with his quiet lantern. He placed it on the pier, and something surprising happened. The flame didn't fight the fog. It didn't roar. It simply stayed steady. And because it stayed, the light didn't collapse. It formed a calm beam, soft, persistent, like a patient hand guiding a lost child. A fisherman, returning late, saw that steady light from the water. Then another boat saw it, then another. That night, ships found home not because the light was the loudest, but because it was the most reliable. The next day the mayor gave Sensi a reward. Gold, honor, applause. But Sen didn't look proud. He looked calm. The mayor asked, "Why didn't you build a bigger flame like the others?" Sen replied, "Because in fog, a flame that tries too hard dies first." Then he added something the town never forgot. The sea doesn't need your panic. It needs your steadiness. And that is your life. When life gets foggy, when timing is unclear, when answers are delayed, you don't need to become louder. You need to become steadier, because the right things arrive in time. But they arrive for the person who doesn't burn out before they come. The parable in your life. 3 places you must stay steady. Let's bring this home. If you're waiting for love, don't let loneliness turn you sharp. Stay steady. Work on becoming safe, not desperate. Whole, not hungry. A steady heart attracts healthier love than a frantic heart ever will, because healthy people avoid chaos, and steadiness is a form of safety. If you're waiting for success, don't let ambition turn you chaotic. Stay steady. Success without steadiness becomes stress with a title. Keep practicing. Keep learning. Keep building. Let discipline catch up to desire. If you're waiting for healing, don't let pain turn you bitter. Stay steady. Healing often comes like morning light. Not sudden, but gradual. And sometimes healing isn't nothing hurts anymore. Sometimes, healing, I can carry this differently now. I can breathe here now. I can live again. The science of things finding you attention, behavior, and social gravity. Now let's explain the magnet idea, without making it mystical. When you repeatedly focus on something meaningful, you begin to notice what supports it. Your brain filters reality. Your attention selects what feels relevant. This is why two people can live in the same city and experience completely different worlds. One person is tuned to threat. Another person is tuned to possibility. Steady people aren't just positive. They are consistent enough to act well. And consistent behavior creates social gravity. People trust you. People recommend you. People return to you. People open doors for you. This is part of how the right things find you. Your steadiness makes you easy to work with, easy to rely on, easy to respect. So yes, life becomes magnetic. But the magnet is not your wish. The magnet is your pattern. What to do when the right thing arrives. Here's a simple checklist you can use when your long-awaited moment comes. Because sometimes the biggest test is receiving well. Prevent. Pause. Don't rush to prove yourself. 2. Breathe. Let your nervous system know we can handle good things too. 3. Gratitude. Not performative, real. 4. Stewardship. Ask, how do I care for this? 5. Humility. Don't confuse a blessing with a personality. When you receive with steadiness, you don't just get the thing, you keep it, because you have the inner structure to hold it. And this is where everything ties together. Buddhism says, don't cling, stay balanced. Keep planting wholesome causes. Christianity says, trust timing. Keep doing good. Let patience finish its work. Science says, small habits compound. Attention filters. Nervous system training changes your behavior. Different paths. Same wisdom. Stay steady. Keep sowing. The right things arrive in time. Conclusion. If you're listening to this and your heart has been racing lately, I want you to hear this like a calm voice in a loud room. You don't have to force what's meant for you. You don't have to chase the right thing like it's running away. You don't have to panic in the fog. Because panic is not power. Panic is just fear pretending to be urgency. But steadiness is real power. Steadiness is how you keep your dignity when people provoke you. Steadiness is how you keep your direction when outcomes delay you. Steadiness is how you keep your peace when life is noisy. Steadiness is how you become the kind of person blessings can trust. So here's what I want you to do this week. Not as a dramatic change, but as a steady one. Keep sowing. Sow discipline. Sow kindness. Sow truth. Sow learning. Sow patience. Sow courage. And do it without checking the soil every 5 minutes. The seed does not grow faster because you worry harder. The lantern does not shine longer because you panic louder. So stay steady. The right things arrive in time. And when they do, you won't just be relieved. You'll be ready. You'll recognize what's aligned. You'll receive it with open hands. And you'll keep moving forward. Quietly. Powerfully. Steadily. Like someone who finally understands. Life rewards the ones who endure with integrity. Stay steady.